Thank you for doing that. Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Castro. I'm the Director of Programming for ICF Washington State. This event, to make sure you're all in the right place, the core four of growing your coaching business with Bill Carmody, hosted by ICF Washington State and in partnership with ICF West. And the extra bonus today is that we are co-hosted by 18 different local ICF chapters from all across the states and Canada. And you saw a number of those represented in the chat today. Thank you all for being here from whatever time zone you're calling in from. We're excited to have you. And we're expecting a big group. So a couple of logistics before we jump in. This event is worth 1.5 CCEUs in resource development, and it is being recorded. So the link to rewatch it will be shared with all registrants, and ICF Washington will send out the recording link to everybody that's on the registration list, and each of your local chapters will be in charge of the CCE documentation. So without further ado, on to our fabulous speaker, and I'm going to give him a little intro and do my best here. So, and try not to fangirl out too much a little bit myself. So for many in the coaching community, Bill Carmody needs no introduction. He has over 30 years of experience in marketing and a trail of successes to show for it, including 2 multi-million-dollar marketing agencies, top sales influencer awards, and very recently, the wildly successful rollout of the SAGE Business Development Program for Positive Intelligence Coaches. He's a best-selling author, a TEDx speaker, and the Chief Coaching Officer for Positive Intelligence. I could go on, but like I said, he really needs no introduction. And so I'll conclude my coach fan moment and pass the mic over to Bill. Bill, thank you for being here and for all you do for the coach community and the world. And the floor is yours.
Oh, wow. Melissa, thank you so much. What a fabulous and powerful introduction. That just warms my heart. Thank you so much for that. I just love it. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you. It is something that I do not take for granted. I think the coaching industry is the most noble profession out there because we help the helpers. It means no matter what we're into the world, we know that there are people out there that we are able to support who are also supporting other people. And so whenever I get an opportunity to support coaches, I'm actually seeing this as the giant ripple effect that it truly is, because every person that I help that's a coach, I know they're helping other people as their clients. And it's just a nice echo chamber effect. So the most important thing that I can share with you today is about your coaching business. Because you see, as coaches, we're fantastic givers. Our default mode is to give. We are giving without any hesitation. We are fantastic at giving. And some of the biggest challenges we have is being open up to receive. And so what we want to do is we want to build financial freedom into our lives. We want to build the sustainable coaching practices so that we can help more and more people in the world. And one of the things that really breaks my heart is when coaches come in with their bright eyes, they're so excited, they're ready to take on the world, and then they struggle to get clients, they struggle to build a coaching business, and they end up going back to a job they don't love, that they're not passionate about, simply because they didn't find a path forward to build a sustainable coaching business. So my goal today is to try to fix that, at least at the starting point. I don't know that we're going to get all the way through today, but I'll at least get you in a really good space to focus where it matters most so that you can build a sustainable coaching practice. So I hope you're as excited as I am. One thing I'm going to do right off the bat, there are worksheets, and I'm going to have Melissa share this link with you as we go throughout. But there are things that I'm going to share with you, and you're going to like, I want to spend more time in this area, and I know that. So we've already put together worksheets that will help you. You can go ahead and do this work. It won't make any sense if you do it now because you don't have any context. But the idea is I want you to know we've already put all the links in. We'll post them again with the relevant moments. What we're trying to do is give you an opportunity to roll up your sleeves and really see what's going to support you to build a sustainable coaching practice. Okay, so from that, I am going to share my screen. So as you heard, this is the core four of growing your coaching business. And I am the Chief Coaching Officer of Positive Intelligence. My name is Bill Carmody, and I'm excited to share this with you. This is the foundation of the Sage Business Development track, which I created in partnership with Shirzad Chamine, who is the New York Times bestselling author of Positive Intelligence and CEO of Positive Intelligence. So the core four concept came from this idea of essentialism. And so this is a book, if you have not read, I know Melissa is going to put this link in the chat, and it's up on the screen right now. It is a real game changer because it really helps us understand the essential few versus the trivial many. And so think about what a non-essentialist does, and think about what this resonates with you in your coaching business. A non-essentialist thinks all things to all people. I have to. It's all important. How can I fit it all in? And they do the undisciplined pursuit of more, reacting to what's most pressing, saying yes to people without really thinking about it, and tries to force the execution at the last moment. They get a life that does not satisfy, takes on too much, and work suffers, feels out of control, is unsure whether it's the right things that get done, and feels overwhelmed and exhausted. So I don't know about you, but I think we've all been there at least at one point. Some of us live there and spend a lot of time in non-essential things, which is why it's so powerful when you start to see what's the difference. Well, an essentialist is about less but better. I choose to versus I have to. Only a few things truly matter. What are the trade-offs? Instead of trying to do it all, what am I willing to say no to? The disciplined pursuit of less pauses to discern what really matters, says no to everything except for what is essential, removes obstacles to make execution easy, and lives a life that really matters, choosing carefully in order to do great work, feeling in control, gets to the right things done, and experiences joy in the journey. That's what we're going for. So what is essential? What is truly essential in building your coaching business? I wonder. Now, some of you who've been with me already know the answer to this, but if you're just coming in here for the first time, you've never seen me speak and talk about Sage Business Development or haven't really familiar with Positive Intelligence, this is going to blow your mind. There are only 4 things that matter in your coaching business. Only 4. And I hope you challenge me on this because I will stand by this. I've done a lot of work in this area, and these are the only 4 things that matter in your coaching business. Number 1, having a focused niche. Number 2, creating an irresistible offer. Number 3, generating appointments. And number 4, converting appointments. That's it. Now, the thing is, you're like, but Bill, what about a website? What about social media? What about email marketing? What about this? Like, I get it. There's a lot of things that go for our attention. And there's a lot of experts out there. They're going to tell you all kinds of contrarian advice, and that's totally fine. But stick with me today. And you're going to see the radical simplification of how to really build and scale a coaching business of any size using just these 4 elements. I'm telling you, I've done this for myself. I've done this for so many other coaches. I'm in a program right now where I helped a coach develop their first week where they generated $17,000, another coach $20,000. My first year of coaching, I put this together, and exactly what I did, I had a $350,000 coaching year followed by an $850,000 coaching year. So I'm telling you, I know this works, and I'm happy to share it with you today. So first, the focused niche is about who. Who is it you choose to serve in the world? That matters because only then can you answer the next question, what? What is it that they want? A truly irresistible offer is understanding what outcome they truly desire. Followed by generating appointments. Where do I find my niche and how do I connect with them? Followed by when? Converting appointments. Converting appointments is about whether they're ready to say yes to an offer or not. And not everybody's ready. So think about that for a minute. These are the 4 elements that you need to build a coaching business of any size. This is less but better. So let's start with the focus niche, right? And the mall map will say you are here. So you know exactly where we are at any point in this program. So your who. Let's start by asking the question, what is your favorite restaurant food? Now, if you want to, you can put this stuff in the chat. It's fun. I encourage it. Feel free to answer these questions in the chat. They do not need to be rhetorical. But if nothing else, just get it in your mind. What is your favorite restaurant food? Nice. I see people throwing in the chat. That's great. Awesome. Thai, Japanese, Indian, fancy, lots of different Mexican, Asian, so a lot of ethnic foods. Awesome, right? How many of you said sushi pizza? Exactly, no one. No one said sushi pizza or sushi burgers or whatever the hell this thing is, right? Burger with a donut on it. That's not what anybody wants. This is what a mashup of an untargeted, focused niche conveys. And let me give you a very concrete example here. I work with people who are important transitions in their lives. Now, I want you to really imagine this person I'm talking about. This is someone's niche. I work with people who are an important transition in their lives. Who are we talking about? Is this a man or a woman? Are they old or are they young? Are we talking about someone in a career transition? Or are we talking about an empty nester? Are we talking about someone who just got divorced? I don't know. I have no idea who you're talking about. They might as well be in witness protection, right? That's what an unfocused niche does. So this is the paradox of growth. We think as coaches that we need to cast a very wide net into the universe. Why? Because I have the ability to help everyone. And that's actually a restless saboteur. Trying to help everyone is not sage. It is saboteur. It is a restless response. Why? Because in becoming all things to all people, one eventually becomes nothing to everybody, particularly to oneself. The paradox of growth is this: you have to narrow your focus to expand your business. Narrow your focus to expand your business. Generalists are unfocused. The goal is to get any customer at any price. They're lost. Without focus, they try a bit of this and a bit of that, and they're constantly searching. They're confused. They work so hard. In fact, they work harder than most. So why do they struggle? They're exhausted. They spend so much time trying to satisfy everyone, they end up run down and depleted from their own awesomeness. And they're typically financially broke. Even though they end up growing their coaching business, they rarely are financially free. No one pays a premium for a generalist. Think about how much you pay for your general physician versus a heart or brain surgeon. Now take a look at this list. Really take this in. What of this resonates for you? You're like throwing darts on a dartboard and missing the mark. Now contrast that with a specialist. Specialists are focused. The goal is to get the right customer at the right price. They're disciplined, meaning they're willing to say no to the wrong opportunities. They're clear. They see a direct correlation between their efforts and the results. They're energized. They spend 20% of the time generating 80% of their desired results. They spend more time in leisure when not working. And they're financially free. As they become known for their work, they are in high demand and are able to command a premium price. They work fewer hours at a higher rate, and their clients are thrilled with their outcomes. Simply put, they hit the target. They hit the bullseye. Now, common objections include, what if I pick the wrong niche, right? There's a lot of self-judgment there. Your niche will reveal exactly what you need to know, and you can always pivot. But how will I know if my niche is correct? That's a stickler question, which is like, I have to be perfect. But we're looking for progress, not perfection. That's the goal. You're going to be able to refine as you learn. Can I have at least 2 or 3 niches? Hyperachiever, always trying to do everything. No, a niche is singular. When you chase 3 rabbits, you catch none. Well, this is too hard. I can't do this. It's the avoider. A niche makes everything easier. This is the 20%, effort that matters, the essential few versus the trivial many. What if I can't decide between 2 or 3 niches? Hypervigilant. If you do a long PQ session, which is a reflection session, meditate on this, ask the question, it'll guide you here. Should I do market research before deciding? Hyper-rational. Everything you need to know and decide is already within you. The answers aren't out there. The answers are in here. I've done this. I've done fine this far without a clear niche. That's the controller talking. A lack of a clear niche over time leads to a predictable burnout. I'm scared if I get too specific, there won't be enough clients. It's a victim response. You need only 20 to 40 out of more than 8 billion people. However narrow your niche is, you will have enough. But I want to help so many people, pleaser. Right? Having a core set of happy clients will allow you to grow and scale. How long do I need to stay with my niche? Restless. Until you have generated at least 25 qualified appointments. Then you'll know if this niche is resonating with you or not. So if you want to do more work on your niche, this is one of the links that we have in the chat, and this is the QR code. This is a worksheet that will allow you to answer some really important questions and get really clear on your niche. It's an easy way for you to get clear whether your niche is specific enough and whether you know your who. And if not, how to refine it so that you do. Next is your irresistible offer, right? This is the next step in your coaching practice. Once you know your who, then you can focus on your what, not your how. So many people focus on the how of their coaching. How they're going to do it only matters after someone says yes to you. Someone knows what you're offering them. Let me get specific. Nobody buys coaching. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I know we're all coaches here. Nobody buys coaching. They invest in outcomes. And your niche, they invest in outcomes. Your job is to figure out what outcome they want more than anything else. An irresistible offer is the promise of an outcome. It addresses the major pain points your niche is experiencing. It directly addresses the deeper underlying desire, which may or may not be clear, and zeroes in on the core value that the client gets when they're working with you. So you want to be asking yourself the question, what is my niche's biggest pain point? What is it they want more than anything else? What is their deepest underlying desire? These questions will lead you to your truly irresistible offer. And so it's a 3P formula. Who are the people you most want to help and can help? What problem? What are your people struggling with most right now? What's the problem that they have? And then what's the promise? What result will they get when they work with you? So what makes an offer truly irresistible? If you look at these 3, it's the promise. What result will they get when they're working with you? That is what people invest in. Hey, that's me. Hey, that's my problem. Wait, you can help me with that? That's what makes it irresistible. So here's some examples. I empower underrepresented leaders to cultivate belonging for themselves and others. I support retired men live a life of purpose. By eradicating money fears, I support divorced women to be financially free, right? And you can go one step further from formula to fabulous. Instead of saying I empower underrepresented leaders to cultivate belonging for themselves and others, how about stand in your power and be the leader you know you're capable of in just 90 days? I support retired men live a life of purpose to ditch the golf clubs and leave a legacy your grandkids would brag about. Instead of eradicating money fears, I support divorced women to be financially free. Eradicate your money fears after divorce and generate complete financial freedom. It can be juicy, it can be beautiful, but it needs to be specific. It can't be vague. In each of these examples, What do you notice? Go ahead and put it in the chat. What do you notice in each of these examples? I'll put them back up there. What do you notice in each of these examples? Yeah. Outcomes, purpose, clarity, solving a clear problem, focus, beautiful, actionable. Awesome. Well said. Love these examples in the chat. For me, it's not about the coach. It's not about the process. It's not even about mental fitness. It's about the client. It's always about the client and their biggest outcome. So it's not about how, it's about what. So your irresistible offer needs to be unique to the specific needs and the major pain point of your niche. You have to be clear on what your niche will receive from you. And it's got to be short and to the point. Easy to say, easy to remember. So if you want to work on your irresistible offer, this is the worksheet. And again, we'll put this in the chat so you have it. These are all linked together. And again, this will help make sure you have clarity that your offer, what you're giving in the world is clear. It is specific. It helps make it very, very clear what you offer as a coach. Now gets to the fun part. Because once you have your niche, your who, and your irresistible offer, your what, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you get to generate appointments. And the question is where? Where do I find my niche? How do I get them on my calendar? I want to be very clear that this is the line of demarcation. This is the separation point. You can spend time focusing on your niche and your irresistible offer for a long time and take no risk. It's not scary. Why? Because it's internal work. You can talk to your peers in coaching. You can go back and forth. You can journal about it. You can do a lot of meditation. It's safe. But the difference here is when you start getting into generating appointments, it changes things. There's a risk. And we have to decide, are we stepping out in fear or love? It's the whole journey. If I'm making it about me, I'm going to be in fear. I'm fearing my vulnerability. I'm fearing rejection. I'm fearing all the risks I'm taking. If I'm generating appointments out of love, I'm making it about who? Who am I making it about? Yeah, my niche. I'm making it about the people I care to serve in the world. That's love. That's what matters. So it's time when you are ready to generate appointments, we have to take off our mask. We can't be a social media fake. We can't have that illusion of perfection. It's not attractive. People want to see people who've crashed and burned, struggled, and have to dust themselves off and get back up. You know, it's all fine and good to say, well, this coach is so successful. I'll never be like that person. But when you're vulnerable and you really speak your truth, where you've been, what you've up to, the challenges you've overcome, that's vulnerable and it's attractive. As Brene Brown says, to be seen, to see and to be seen, that is the truest nature of love. To see and to be seen, that is the truest nature of love. Generating appointments is about allowing your love to be seen and for you to be seen. And that's scary for a lot of coaches. So there's a big lie when generating appointments. You need to know all of this stuff in order to do it. You don't. So here to see what resonates for you. I can't generate appointments until I've updated my website, LinkedIn, bio, about page. None of these things are necessary to generate appointments. I'm serious. All you need is a calendar link, a way for someone to get on your calendar. That's it. Would a website help? Sure. LinkedIn? Absolutely. These are all helpful tools, but they're not necessary. I built my first $350,000 coaching business with Calendly. Can't even say it right now. And it was the free version. It wasn't even the paid version. Now, I support the paid version, but truthfully, you don't need all this technology and complexity. I need to learn how to use the social media email CRM platform. These tools only work once you have a proven track record. We're putting the cart before the horse. I need to hire a virtual assistant, an appointment setter, a part-time staffer. Adding cost before adding revenue is a surefire way to fail. I need to clear my calendar, change jobs, earn more money. You decide the speed of your growth based on the time you invest. And of course, anything I haven't covered here, all these objections, everything you put in front of building and scaling your coaching business is likely a saboteur lie attempting to keep you safe. Because what we mean by that is keep you in your comfort zone. Take no risk. Don't put yourself out there. Don't be seen. The truth is, generating appointments is the keystone habit of any business, especially if you choose to help anyone in a business context. Being able to demonstrate this for yourself is powerful. If you don't know what a keystone is, it's the final stone that holds the whole bridge together, right? It's the critical stone that puts the weight from both sides. It brings it together. It's the linchpin. And ultimately, this is what generating appointments is. You have to have your niche clear and your irresistible offer figured out for sure. But this is it. Your keystone habit is what builds and scales every coaching business. And the goal is to become a coach who puts yourself out there every day. Not sometimes, not when you feel like it, not when you need one more client, but a consistency that helps you grow and scale. And so there are 5 ways to generate appointments. Here they are. You can do direct outreach. You could do networking. You could do speaking. You could do writing, and you can do referrals. Already you have a sense of it. And I'm wondering, I'll just take a moment, put in the chat, which one do you know you're already gravitationally pulled toward? Of these 5 on the screen, which is the one for you? Let me see it. Yeah, a lot of speaking, a lot of networking, a lot of referrals. Awesome. Writing, great. Good diversity. So here's the thing. In direct outreach, we're talking about a couple things. Connecting one-on-one via any medium. Could be your phone, text, direct message, email, card, letter, video message, voice message, anything. Networking is usually an in-person connection at a networking event, conference, meetup, group, association, reception. Speaking is using your voice in a one-to-many way. That could be what I'm doing right now, a keynote. Could be a podcast, could be a webinar, could be an interview, could be live or recorded video. Could be writing, the written word to attract your audience, article, book, lead magnet, newsletter, website, white papers. And referrals, satisfied client introductions, direct introduction, video testimonials, written endorsement, social media connections, right? All of this coming through a place of referral. So determining which method is most important for you, it really starts, because it's personal, with what do you naturally gravitate toward? That's why I asked the question up front. There's already one that you already kind of know. This is what I'd love to do. So which would allow you to be in ease and flow? If you don't like direct outreach, you're not going to do it. But at the same time, you can develop any muscle you choose. But if you love to write, write. If you love to speak, speak. If you love to schmooze, network. If you love to build off the success you already have, get referrals, systematically build it in, right? And in all of these places, it's just an opportunity for you to continuously grow. How often are you willing to repeat this approach? You want to be doing this on the regular. Which approach feels sustainable for you? Doesn't feel like work. It's actually fun. When I reach out to people and connect with them, I get lit up. So I love direct outreach. Not everyone does. Some people just love being on stage. That's awesome. Some people love to write. They feel like they're in their element. Whatever it is, it needs to feel sustainable. And what would you enjoy doing regardless of outcome? Regardless of what happens, you love doing it. That's creating sustainability. And then you have to ask yourself, which method does your niche prefer? It's not just about you. Where does your niche spend the most of their time? This is important to cross over. How does your niche like to engage with other people? If you love writing, but your niche loves networking, you're going to have a mismatch. You may need to get over any fear of networking. You may want to try some networking, or you may want to figure out how to use articles to get into networking events. What would be seen as a valuable exchange? What more could you learn from your niche? Where might you discover even more of your niche and your ideal clients? Like as you're going into a place of curiosity, find out, where do they like to network? What events do they like to go to for speaking engagements? What blogs do they read? What articles do they like to find on which publications, right? Who do they listen to? Who do they respect for referrals? And all of this leads us to a concept called fractals. So take a moment. And since I've gone so far for so long, we have a few minutes here. I'm going to ask you to do some visual PQ reps with me. Okay? And all that means is deeply look at this picture. Allow your eyes to connect with the colors with great clarity. Notice the beautiful pattern. Notice the repeating pattern. See more nuance than you first saw. Perhaps the color yellow when you first were looking at green, or the light blue if you saw the yellow first. Notice the sharp tips, the pointy ends. Notice the star-like figure and how it swirls out. Really look at this picture. This is a fractal. Fractals are irregular geometric shapes that have the same degree of non-regularity on all scales. So you see this very common in nature, trees in particular. You look up at a tree and you see all of the branches and the leaves. Then you look really closely at a leaf and it's the same pattern. How cool is that? The actual leaf itself has the same pattern as the trunk of the tree and the branches. And the leaves themselves, it's irregular and it repeats over and over and over again. An appointment generating fractal is about discovering the smallest unit of effort in order to generate a single appointment on your calendar. Let me say that again. An appointment generating fractal is about discovering the smallest unit of effort in order to generate a single appointment on your calendar. This is the keystone habit of your coaching business, right here. Then you could do what nature does and scale your AG fractal infinitely to any size coaching business you choose. Truly. And so AG appointment generating fractals are irregular. No two are exactly the same. They're simple. There's nothing complicated about each step. They're effective because they generate at least one appointment. They're efficient. You already know how to create yours. And they're abundant. There's no question in your mind you can replicate it. And they're fundamental. At their core, they represent the keystone habit of your coaching business. So if you know how to network and work a crowd and generate appointments, all you have to do is more of that. If you love to speak from the stage and the speaking generates appointments on your calendar, keep doing it. If you love to write articles and you have a call to action at the bottom of your article that generates appointments on your calendar, you already understand what we're talking about here. So let's take some time to explore what's best for you. This is the third link that we put into the chat. This is your appointment generating worksheet, and it shares with you how to know which is the right approach to take. So take a look here, and this will give you an opportunity to dig in. I love this quote from Stephen Covey. It's one of my favorites. To know and not to do is not to know. Meaning, hey, Bill, I kind of know all this. Yeah, but are you doing it? To know and not to do is not to know. That's the key differential. To do this in ease and flow regularly from a sage perspective is going to support your growth in your coaching business. Lastly, to convert appointments, this is the art of the close. You are now here. Amazing how far we've gone in just not so little time, right? It's pretty awesome. So here we are, converting appointments. This is about when. When. So we talked about, going back for 1 second, the focus niche is your who, your irresistible offer is your what, your generating appointments is where. This is about when. And people are like, huh? What are you talking about, Bill? Converting appointments is when? No, this is where the money I get. This is where I'm converting. This is sales. No, actually, it's an enrollment. Your job isn't to sell anyone anything. You're here to determine if now is the right time. And that's all you're doing. You've generated an appointment. Yay! Now what? You get to deliver the value to your niche, regardless if they hire you or not. Do you get that? Like, this is you being a giver all over again, but doing it in a sustainable way that will drive your coaching business. When someone says yes to your calendar, you get to deliver incredible value to them, regardless if they hire you or not. It's part of the job. You signed up to be a coach. This is what we get to do as coaches. So how do we do that? Through a discovery session. I'm not going to go into what a discovery session is. You all know what that is. You've all been to various coaching schools. You wouldn't be part of the ICF if you didn't. So you know what a discovery session is. Where I'm going to spend time is talking about what the actual conversion looks like. Converting appointments is about when your niche is ready. Think about this statement. A qualified niche prospect who resonates with your irresistible offer can get on your calendar and still be not ready to hire you as their coach. True? Yeah. So why are we making it about us? When your niche is ready to change, they will likely enroll with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are they to solving the outcome they say they care about? If it's a 1 through 6, you're not going to enroll them. If it's a 7 to 10, they're ready to change. You have a much better chance of enrolling them into your coaching practice. But remember, it's not about you. It's about them. Not making a decision is actually a decision. It's the decision to stay the same. And we get to respect that decision, don't we? It's not your job to judge the decision of another person, especially if you disagree with their decision. It's their decision to make. It's equally important not to judge yourself. Taking rejection personally is a saboteur response, not a sage one. So let's not take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. I hate to break that to you, but this is such a true statement. Nothing others do is because of you. Our ego wants to tell us that we're so important, we're so valuable. No, we're not. We're servant leaders. As coaches, we're servant leaders, and we can't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. Converting appointments is about when your niche is ready. Period. If you take just this out of today's session, you will be a happier coach because you stop making it about you. Most people take rejection personally, and that stops them from actually generating more appointments because it's hard. When someone says no, it's hard, right? But the thing is, every yes you've ever wanted lives in the land of no. You need to hear a bunch of no's before you get a yes. And so you can't take it personally. You just can't. If every time someone says no to you, you get rejected, you get dejected, start getting hard on yourself, you're not going to do this work. And you're not going to build a successful coaching practice. So we got to become resilient and understand the no is not about you. The no is about them. I'm not ready at this time. Thank you for your offer. I'm not ready. And that yes is in that land of no. I'm telling you, all we're hearing is the saboteur no, negative, 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 but it's actually a beautiful thing. If we can reframe the no and get excited about it, it'll create sustainability, because every time you get 9 no's, you get 1 yes, statistically. So you got to get excited every time. I got a no. Yay, I got a no. Why? Because you're that much closer to yes. If you can get excited about 9 no's because you know a yes is coming, you'll keep walking this path, and you'll do it in love, and you'll do it in sage. Because every no means you're that much closer to a yes, simply put. So converting appointments in ease and flow. This is about the art of the close. So let me show you how to do this so easily. So first of all, this is the business side of your business. So it must be natural. You're a professional, and this is what you do. The conversation of engagement will either be brought up by you or the client. Otherwise, it's just talk. It's not enrollment. It's professional. You're clear on what you receive, for how much, and the value you deliver for what, and over a specified length of time for how long. You're confident because you've rehearsed this part so many times. There's no hesitation, no stumbling, no wavering on your part. You're strong in your resolve. And it's thoughtful. You've already considered if you think that the person you're speaking to would benefit from your work and would be a good fit. And it's direct. There's no sense talking around the subject of your offer. You either choose to bring it up at the appropriate time, or are you ready to get into it when they talk about hiring you? So the pre-frame questions include, how is that for you? You start here because you want to get a check-in. How are they experiencing about that discovery session? And they're going to tell you. What value did you get from our coaching session? Let them tell you. What clarity or awareness do you now have? How will you move forward from our session today? What's their action plan? And then here's the second most important question. Second most important question you can ask. Is coaching a form of support that would serve you? Whatever version of that is for you, is coaching a form of support that would serve you? And if they say yes, you move to the next one. If they say no, say, well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And then you ask for a referral. We'll get into that in a moment. When they say yes, because most people will, say, would you like to hear about what it's like working with me? When you ask that question, you're giving permission. They're giving you permission to make your offer. So make it. I receive this much money per month for this amount of this many coaching sessions, and I coach my clients for a minimum of this many months. So it would sound like this. I receive $1,000 per month for 2 45-minute coaching sessions, and I coach my clients for a minimum of 6 months. Or if you want to do it as a program, I receive this much money for this much of a particular program. I've received $1,500 for my 8-week mental fitness program, or I received $12,000 for 1 year of my mental fitness program, whatever it is. Make your offer and then quiet. After you say those words, stop. Full stop. I receive $1,000 a month for 2 45-minute coaching sessions, and I coach my clients for a minimum of 6 months. Cathedral silence here. You can hear a pin drop. Say nothing, because silence is a source of great strength. To be comfortable in that silence allows this offer to be considered in the reverence in which it was delivered. And then they ultimately make a decision, right? When they say yes, congratulations. Celebrate their choice with them. Get the first session on the calendar while the passion is high. Double down on the commitment with scheduling the first session and explain the next steps. I'll send you my agreement along with the invoice to be paid before our first session together. Or dance in the moment with your new client and congratulate them on this powerful decision to change the trajectory of their life. Keep them in momentum, celebrate their powerful decision. When it's no, no is a complete sentence. The number one thing to do is to not take it personally. They're not rejecting you. They're not necessarily rejecting your offer either. It's a no for now. Now is not the right time, not the right when. Accept and celebrate their decision of clarity. Once you have genuinely accepted their answer, it's also a perfect moment to seek a referral. They just received value. You didn't pressure them. Guess what? They want to help you. This is a simple way that they can support you without agreeing to hire you for now. Ask for the referral. Maybe this is going to be your most common response. Your saboteurs are going to want to take over. Don't let them. The most powerful thing you can do is be fully present to this moment with your niche. For example, are they struggling to politely say no? If so, do the kind thing and let them off the hook. Sounds like this is a no. Let's leave it as a no for now. Are they in freeze mode? Give them the space to process and don't interrupt them. Silence is your friend here. Let them work it out. What's on their mind? And do they have genuine questions? Answer honestly, even if it means a no. Remember, your niche is more important to you than one more client. So think about what saboteur lies are present for you about converting appointments. In fact, I'd ask you, even put it in the chat. What gets you into fear, not love? What are the concerns that you have about converting appointments? We all have them. Yeah. What if they say your prices are too high? Imposter syndrome. Are people not willing to pay for coaching? I feel awkward, so fear of looking awkward. When I have that program complete and ready to deliver, it's June 17th, my fear that I choose non-profitable niche, being pushy. I get that I really want to work with you, but I can't afford you. Being perceived as pushy, rejection, fear of doing something wrong. Hypervigilant, too expensive, not good enough, too expensive. Yeah, totally. Look at all these. And so many of the variants of I'm not blank enough. I'm not good enough and experienced enough, sage enough, smart enough, skilled enough, rich enough, certified, etc., whatever. There's the I'm not enough lie. There's the no one will pay me for my coaching, group coaching, mental fitness program, etc. lie. I'm not ready. And we're going for progress, not perfection. We're here to take that first step together. Or the I'll grow my business when lie. Any and all future state conditions that you can't control, like when the economy's better, when I make this next blah, blah, blah. I'm not good at selling anything. Converting isn't selling. You're enrolling your niche and helping them to achieve the outcomes they desire. It's quite different. Building your coaching business can be easy. Our saboteur lies make it hard. Our saboteurs all want us to play small and stay comfortable. They don't want us to be bright and brilliant like we truly are. So we really need to tap into our infinite abundance. Empathy. Empathize for ourselves. This is the journey we're on. Empathy for our niche. This is a most important decision that they're making to take their lives on. Explore. How do I continue to evolve as I learn in this process? How do I innovate and be creative with the people that I'm working with? Navigate. Why am I doing any of this? What's my big purpose? My big why? Why did I choose to be a coach? Why do I choose this niche? And then activate. Keep going. So think about what saboteur lies are present for you about growing your coaching business. What is it? What stops you from really leaning in to building the coaching business of the size you know you're capable of? Put it in the chat. Yeah, love it. Love it. Lack of clarity. I'm too old. Time and money. Too many coaches out there. It's too competitive. Experience. There aren't enough clients for my niche. Not enough experience. Not good enough. Too risky. Taking too much energy. It'll be too hard, too time consuming. Interest in business, money and networking, lots of competition, not organized enough, fear of the failure. It'll be more than I can manage. Once I have X number of followers on social media, I will. Great. So brilliant. So many great insights. Thank you all for that. Beautiful. And notice the saboteur lies that often include, I just need to build my website, learn from this social media platform, get on X, finish Y. I'm not blank enough comes up here too. I'm not good enough, experienced enough, sage enough, smart enough, skilled enough, rich enough, certified. No one will pay for my group coaching programs. I'm not ready. Progress, not perfection. I will grow my business when. And these are all the future state conditions we can't control. So really, I will have 2 more questions for you, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A. But number 1, why does it matter to you if your coaching business is successful? I'd love for you to put that in the chat. Why does it matter to you if your coaching business is successful? Said differently, why is your coaching business a must? Why must you succeed here? Yeah, there we go. It's my life dream. I want to help people because I want to make a difference. I want to change. My people need me. It gives me the freedom to do what I love. Validity, sense of accomplishment in helping others. Because what I want to do, and I want to help people. More people transformed. I know that I'm making a difference for others, proving it to others, making an impact on people's lives and their community. People of great value working with me to change other lives for the better. So many people are hurting. Yes, it matters to me. Have satisfaction, reward to give in my niche. I will make a difference in my community. Look at these beautiful statements. This is so heartwarming. Keep going. This is gorgeous. And now my next question, I should say my final question before Q&A. Why does it matter to your niche if your coaching business is successful? Remember, we're going to do more for others than we'll even do for ourselves. So why does it matter to your clients if your coaching business is successful? Please put in the chat. Transformation. I want them to know it's possible. I can reach more people. They can gain clarity, more peace, love, or joy in their lives to transform because they need and they can do it. I'm here to support them in getting what they want, a more fulfilling life experience. It matters because it will make their life better and their friends' lives better too. They'll be free at last. I'm helping them with a problem they can't solve themselves right now because they'll benefit from my experience and change lives. People move from stress to well-being, helps transform their relationships. So I won't be leaving coaching to find another job. My purpose is that leaders, that they lead with integrity, with love, listen to people's greatness, and everyone around them is transformed. This is beautiful. Just take a moment, look at what your peers are saying too. We're all in this incredible mission together. So I'm going to stop it here. And I just want to just end by saying this. Take a look at that chat. And if I were you, I would save this chat. And the reason why I'm saying this is be inspired, not just by what you put there, but by your peers. It should warm your heart. I come full circle to where I began. I do this work because this is one of the most noble professions in the world. We get to be successful so that we can accomplish everything you just put in the chat. Thank you. Okay. Melissa, how do you want to do the Q&A? How would you like to do this?
So we have a couple logistical questions, and we have a handful of questions that I saw where folks are seeking your opinion on Core 4 related things.
Sure. Great. Where do you want to start?
Where do you want to go? I was going to ask you. Let's do logistical.
Yeah. Let's just knock out the small, quick ones, and then we'll get into some more of the content ones. That's fine.
Okay. The recording is going to go to everybody, the recording link. Someone asked about the deck. And I know in the past, we don't typically send the decks with these.
Yeah, I won't, you'll have the slides in the recording, and so that's there for reference, but this is actually intellectual property from Positive Intelligence, so I don't feel good about giving that deck out specifically, but you can
Yep.
refer to it in the recording, so you should be able to see everything you need.
Perfect. Thank you. And yes, I should have addressed at the top with everybody that this is a keynote presentation. And so typically all the Q&A follows at the end, but we're here now and we're doing it. So no deck, but you have the recording and you can follow up on all the things as much as you'd like. Additional logistical question on the forms. Where does all the data that goes into the forms go? And will it go into some kind of marketing
No.
situation?
So, thank you. Great question. So this is not a marketing funnel. The only thing that we do on our side, so one of the reasons we use Google Forms is so that it will automatically email you. So you put your email address in and then you get all your answers. And that way it makes it easy for you to be able to do it digitally and then get the answer. That's the number one reason we use Google Forms. The only other thing we do is we look for trends so that we as Positive Intelligence can help coaches globally. So you're not going onto any opt-in list. You're not going to receive a single email from me or Positive Intelligence. What I will do is I will look at the information at a global level to say, hey, are there any trends that people are saying that would help us to be able to help more coaches? That's the only other reason we'd have with the data.
Perfect. That's all I have on the logistical cues, except for one for myself. So we're at, 4 till the top of the hour, and we have this room for 90 minutes. So Bill, just checking your time and availability for Q&A length.
Fully committed to the full 90 minutes. So I'm here the whole time.
Okay.
And by the way, for those of you who do have to leave at the top of the hour, thank you for being here. I sincerely appreciate you. This is awesome. I'm so glad you all had a chance to show up, and I'm excited for you to be able to do this great work in the world. So thank you for that. And with that, let's open it up.
Q&A, yeah. So feel free to raise your hand and then we'll bring you up. And someone asked for the forms again, so we'll get those going. There you go.
Awesome. And Brian, let me just take you off mute. Go ahead.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for the presentation. I really appreciate it. I have a question on one of the areas that you focused in on, and it had to do with how do you find your niche? Like, where do they live? What are the different, methods that you should be attracting them through? And right now I've been focusing a lot on writing, a lot on LinkedIn, writing articles on LinkedIn, trying to build a social presence. I've been dabbling a little bit in my network. I'd spent 17 years in technology selling, so I have a lot of connections across the corporate landscape. So I'm like, okay, that's a great place to start as well, low-hanging fruit. I am also trying to go the DM route. Like, I was a sales individual, so I understand how to prospect. I understand that motion. So I'm dabbling all over the place, right? And I'm like, am I not as focused as I should be? And social media and content creation in and of itself can take a lot of time.
Totally.
Especially for someone that's new. I like it though, right? Like, I enjoy it. I feel like I'm getting good at it, right? But I also feel that there's this speed to market element that I need to start to get at a certain run rate by a certain date and time due to constraints I have on myself right now in terms of my financials. So I'm curious what you see in terms of success, what that looks like. Are some people like, hey, I'm just going to pick one avenue, I'm going to stay in that lane? Or are they like, okay, this one really works, and this one I think probably works too. And so I'm just
So what I would say is that it's totally fine to use like writing and then also direct outreach to show the content as sort of a validation step. What you want to be careful of is not writing for writing's sake. And I'm not saying that you're doing this, but this is the trap. Like, I love to write, and so I'm writing all the time, but the writing isn't producing appointments. And even when I go send people to direct outreach and I do DMs, that's not generating appointments either. Well, that means something's off. And so what it comes back to is then say, what is my true offer for these people? So using the example, in the technology space, there's all kinds of really cool things that I would play with. For example, artificial intelligence. It's like, are you concerned that AI is going to replace your job and your ability to be able to sell in the coming 5 to 10 years? If so, we should have a discovery session to talk about what to do about that as an example. So you start thinking about, like, what are the pain points that they're really after? And based on your knowledge and your experience as a salesperson in this industry, what are the things that these people are keeping them up at night? And then use that as an opportunity to make the introduction. So it's not a traditional, hey, I want to get on your calendar and have a conversation. It's like, I have a thing, I have an insight that I know will help you.
So even if that's not the niche that or the problem that I'm solving, is this almost like a problem within the problem potentially, just to get a conversation?
Getting really to a point solution. Let me reverse it. What is the problem you're solving? How would you normally approach someone?
So right now, like the content that I'm writing is really kind of based on my experience over the past few years in corporate. So it's men who suffer in silence due to the stringent demands that society places on us as
Right.
men being very stoic, right, in their approach, which obviously creates stress, overwhelm, burnout, right? Those are kind of the three big ones.
So there it is. So even though what you're saying is in terms of like the reasons and the rationale and all the circumstances piece, I would go right to burnout. And the reason why I
Yep.
say that is because less is more. Like it's like, are you experiencing burnout right now in your role? Are you thinking about quietly quitting or changing jobs because you just need to get out? I can help. Right? Like
Got it.
got to the point and just right there, drop it in and see it.
Okay.
If that resonates and people are getting on your calendar, then your message is clear and your offer is irresistible. If it's not clear or not irresistible, it means they're not responding. It's like, that's not the thing that they're worried about. So you got to keep digging. And that's where you want to start to be really curious. What are they? If it's not burnout, what is it? And keep asking those questions, whether it's a
Okay.
networking event or even on LinkedIn.
That makes sense. And also last piece, I don't want to take up the whole forum, but like in my writing itself, like at first I was just trying to create a brand that was like, I'm only 2 months in, by the way.
Yeah,
So
great. Congratulations.
and I don't think I was talking too much about my offer itself. Like I think I was just trying to create a brand and an image of myself. And I've started to incorporate the offer piece a little bit more over the past couple of weeks. And boom, yesterday I got 3 DMs from people
There
in
it
the space,
is.
high
And,
level executives that are like,
notice that because our quote unquote best practices are build your brand first, make yourself, you got social media presence, build your following, do all the things that are necessary except build your coaching business. You're going to be out of business by the time you do all that. So don't,
right,
right?
exactly.
One article with a call to action and see if it works. And that's it. If not, second article, different call to action, do that one. Find what works and then scale that. That's all we're
Cool.
doing.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Nice. Excellent. Beautiful. Thanks, Brian. Sylvia, you are up next.
Hi, such a pleasure to meet you live here. This was an excellent presentation, and I have been a few years ago through the foundational PQ program, and so I love to see how it has evolved and how you connect the business aspect with the saboteurs. Amazing. And I love this book, even though it challenges me literally to my core.
Yes.
And it's connected with my foundational challenge in my business. I have, you could use multiple labels. I'm a multi-potentialite. I'm hyper creative. I'm a multiple hyphenated kind of business person. And I'm here now completely honest. I'm authentically not really interested in business.
Okay.
Business building is, I'm not an entrepreneur and I need to make a living. I need to make money. I love coaching and I'm an artist and I'm a public speaker and I'm a consultant and. So for me, it's always my weakness in your four things which I have done all is always the beginning, the niche. I develop a niche, I focus on it for a few months and then I get bored and I have 3 new niches. So I'm a constant niche hopper. I'm in business now as a coach for 28 years. In the 28 years, I was the first German coach to be certified by the ICF. I shaped the industry. I know it in and out. I'm a phenomenal coach. But when it comes to business, because of my multiple business identity disorder or creative mess, from a business aspect, my business sucks because I'm not really committed and interested in it. I love researching. I'm pushing the boundaries of coaching. I'm inventing new coaching modalities and tools. But staying focused on a niche bores the
So
shit.
Sylvia, I'm really curious about what part of the business doesn't interest you.
It's repetition. Yeah, it's when you create this funnel, when you have your defined niche. Yeah, I mean, I did that. I use online calendar, but it's literally asking the same questions or meeting the same problem. I thrive on diversity of yeah, whatever PQ saboteur. It's too long ago that I know all the names. I think someone says there's something about the restless person, restless saboteur. I don't like repetition things in business.
So herein lies the opportunity to strengthen some of your own growth edge around not the repetition part, but how do you make it so it's not repetitive? So in other words, where do you bring your creativity into the process itself? So for example, in those 5 fractals that I shared,
Yeah.
speaking, writing, networking, what is the thing that doesn't repel you the most? Or reversing, what do you actually enjoy? Whichever one you want to choose.
So in the moment, I'm in a reinvention phase, which feels more long-term potential, where I combine book writing and public speaking, where the coaching part, the one-on-one coaching part, is getting smaller, because after so many years, I'm a bit bored by one-on-one coaching. I'm sorry, all coaches, but it's just I'm doing it so long. So I'm thinking now long-term, even into retirement and legacy. So I'm working on building out my personal library of books and connecting them with online courses and keynotes.
Okay, so there
For
it
me,
is.
that
That's fine. So notice like what you're sharing right now is you're trying to you're looking at it from a specialty perspective where the one-on-one coaching business is no longer interesting to you. True? Accept
yes.
that. So essentialism would say no to it. Essentialism says let go of it. Now, how do you let go of it? By getting to the place of where is the value that you can create from the books you're writing. And so the question in the books is, who's the audience for that one book? Now, I'll give you an example. One of the first best-selling book that I wrote is called The 3 Rules of Marriage. It's about relationships. And the beautiful thing about relationships is that it is a complete greenfield opportunity. I could go down the divorce route. I could go down the new relationships. I could go I could do anything I want in that. If I was in your position and I said, all I want to do is create revenue from this book, then what I would do is I would start building the courses, and I would have multiple courses. I would have the newly engaged course, which is like, now how do you build the epic relationship you want of your dreams? That would be one course. I would have the marriage has gotten stale course, which is like, okay, we've been married for 10 years and like, we're kind of thinking like we want to mix it up, right? There's that version. I would, you know what I mean? So I would go through, and suddenly what you have is like 5 to 10 really valuable high-end priced courses that you could create that then would help you scale $1 million practice without having to do any one-on-one coaching. Why not do that?
Okay, perfect. Well, this is what I'm working on. Okay,
You're good. That's it.
good.
And so that's the point of essentialism, the willingness to have a trade-off. The trade-off is, this doesn't give me joy, so I say no to it. This does give me joy, so I'm going to do more of it. That's essentialism. It's easy. You don't have to twist anymore. You're done.
Thank you, Bill. Your genius is
Oh.
making things easy. You made this book easier.
Hey!
Thank you. Yay,
Awesome,
thank you.
Sylvia. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Zaya, you are on camera. Great. Fantastic.
And a lot of love in the chat. A lot of love in the chat for people sharing and for your answers. And I think Anja summed it up best, and she said, damn, Bill is good.
Oh, thank you.
Keep it rolling.
Yes, beautiful. Excellent. Zaya, what you got?
Hi, it's Zia. So I'm a career coach who helps people figure out who they are outside of a job description. I help them communicate that to potential employers. And my stuck point is generating appointments. I was on a podcast 3 years ago, and that podcast blew up, and I had every single client I've had, and I've had like full calendar since then, came from that episode. It is now slowing down. And so I have to think about what I'm going to do next. And based on your advice so far, I think, that worked once, do more of that. But my question is, as I start to think about producing more content, how much of the farm do I give away? I mean, obviously, as a career coach, I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of powerful questions, but there's instruction too, right? People don't want powerful questions around like, how do I set up my resume or LinkedIn or whatever? So there's a lot I could do. But then it makes me wonder, like, how much do I give away of my process, my thinking, to entice people to work with me one-on-one and not just, say, okay, here's all my content and you've got everything you need.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing is that what I find in that, so first of all, it's a brilliant question. I love it. Is like, there used to be a place where early in my career, I was definitely much more concerned about giving too much away. And I'll give you an example. Today's session in 1 hour, I'm sharing the summary version, the executive summary of everything that business development would be a part of in Positive Intelligence. So if you were to join the Positive Intelligence membership, the core 4 of what I just did, you will say, wow, that's fantastic. I'm seeing the content there, but now we just go much deeper with it. Because you could imagine that at the high level point, I've just given you the answer, your niche, your offer, generate and convert. And I did it in a 1 hour keynote, and it's like, this is perfect. You know enough to be dangerous. You're like, intellectually, I'm there. I get it. But now you go out there and you try to start working on your niche. Even with the worksheet that I gave you, it's like, it's enough to have a concept and you start going after it. But you're like, what I really need is more support than what this one worksheet with this one keynote is giving me. So notice, and I'm not doing this as a tactic. I'm just showing you an example. Like in reality, you can't give too much away for a very simple reason, that there's a limited amount of time. And I'm being as authentic as I can. I'm going to answer any question people ask, but there's a difference between having a taste of something and really living in it. And so the people that are actually I'm working with day in and day out, the coaches as part of the membership network, they see me every single week and we're going deeper and deeper and deeper. And so the difference here is that at a surface level on a podcast or in a, on a LinkedIn article, you can give people everything. You can tell them exactly what they need to be doing, but there's a very, very distinction of applying it to their specific needs. The value of the coaching you provide is making it distinct to their particular situation. Like we're doing right now, like literally, like you saw, it's like, I know now that I need to do another podcast, but I'm not sure exactly how much to give away, right? This is the kind of stuff, like even after this conversation, if you do another podcast, you'll continue to start to like, okay, this opens another question, which opens another question, which opens another question. So there really isn't an end here. And the thing about it is, it's never about the ideas. It's about the execution of those ideas that really makes the difference. So someone who hires you as a coach is really looking for the implementation. Yes, they would love insights on their resume. Yes, they would love help with their LinkedIn. What they really want is another job. And so they need to figure out, how do I get out of my way so I get the better job? And so working with you as a coach, they're going to figure out all the situations, like what to say in the interview in this particular case, because I found out these specific things, and there's no way you could say all of that in a single podcast or even in whatever you. So there is not a line here in terms of like giving it all away. I would say, if anything, the more you give away into the world, what that does is it attracts people in to say, you know so much and you're giving this away freely. I want to hire you so that I can apply what you all know to my specific situation. And that's who you're going to attract into your coaching business. So I would say, like, when in doubt, go to the part of being more generous, because again, from a place of generosity, there's always more.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Penny, how are you?
Great. Thank you so much. And it feels like you've maybe already answered a lot of my
Hey.
questions, because I can resonate with Sylvia and Zia for sure. So I'm an animal communicator and a human coach.
Okay.
So
Beautiful.
I've been doing a lot of coaching and helping people with strengths. And whenever I do my speaking with that, oh, people want to come and work with me.
Yeah.
Where's your blog? Where's your book? You know, all this stuff. And then I kind of defibrillate and go, I love that, but I also love helping people with the anxiousness of their dogs,
Yeah.
because or their animals, so I can release the anxiousness in them, and then coach the humans to work with them. And so I'm defibrillating between lack of focus and
That's not a lack of focus. Now, let me be clear about what you just said is very complimentary. The question is just putting it together in a way that is presented as the complementary part that it is. The defibrillation that you're experiencing is the bouncing back and forth with an either or. What I'm suggesting is, what does the and look like?
Right. And when I shared with some people that I'm an animal communicator, it turns off the corporate types big time.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Know your audience.
So it's like, you're kind of woo-woo out there, Penny. You know, so it's like, you know, I have these workshops for doing strengths focused teams and team building. And then I have this individual coaching where I can assist and help people ready to get rid of their dogs. I can help them integrate into their families.
Yeah.
So it's like two separate lanes.
And you want to do both, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
I do, because I don't want to let go of all the work that I've done, and I see such a benefit to help corporate organizations work better together. And what I see is, when I spend my time working with animals and helping the animals and the humans have a better life together, that's where my heart is right now. Yet when I work there, I'm afraid I'm losing all this work I've done, and it needs to be out in the world too, because every time I bring it up to share, people are going, oh my God, we need this for our organization. And now I get scared. Now what do I do? So it is a both and, because I do work with strengths in animals, I can find the strengths out in the animals and work with a plan for that.
Let me ask you a question. Just in playing in the space of creativity and innovation, what would it look like to have the corporate piece of this integrate with the animal piece of this, like for real? If you were to bring
real.
animals into the mix, what would that look like for you?
Well, I think it would be cool.
Yeah. Well, and I'm telling you this because I have friends in Colorado. They have a ranch called Believe Ranch and Rescue, and they rescue horses. And what they started doing was they realized the cost of a rescued horse is so exorbitant. One of the reasons why so many horses are put down is because they're expensive to keep. And if they're not, they're thoroughbreds or racing horses and things like that. Oftentimes these horses won't survive for that very reason. So they said the only way we can survive by holding this ranch is to actually bring corporations in to actually fund this work. And so what they do is they actually do all of the training on the ranch. So what they do is it's a very cool setup because basically the corporations, especially these are all in Colorado, now in Denver, they will actually bring their team out for like a full immersion day. They'll learn about the different cultures based on the ways that the horses react, because every horse has a different personality, as you know.
Right.
And in doing that, like they'll say, okay, this skittish horse is like Mary, and this is what happens when Mary is in there and she's like, oh my God, I don't know. She needs to be settled down. And this is how we work with the Mary type. And then this is the Gina type that is basically, you know, so it's like the more controller type. And so they start going after, they look at the personalities based on the horses, and it allows them to have a much better understanding of how each of them are actually associated with each one of those horse personality types. And in doing that work, what they're able to do is understand that every horse belongs in the stable, but the idea is each horse has a different need. And understanding that changes the entire thinking around the culture, because it's hard to tell Mary, stop freaking the hell out. But at the same time, Mary can't say you're being too controlling. They can't have those direct conversations, but by doing it with the horses, they like immediately it clicks. It's like, okay, this horse needs this type of care, love, and feeding. This horse needs this type of a care, love, and feeding. And suddenly it changes their entire culture, and they've been crushing it. And they're paying top dollar to come to this horse ranch and have this full experience. So I'm asking you, what if you collapse them? What if you used animals as a way for people to understand, like animals are intuitively smart, they're intuitively brilliant. And right now the fear is, oh my God, it's too woo-woo. Go the other way. It's like, no. This is the brilliant way to get you out of your head and into your heart. And that's what most corporations don't have, and we need. And so you might call it woo-woo. What I call it is culture, and culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Thank you for that, because the way I have been sharing it is I go to the alpha brainwave state instead of the beta brainwave state. When I'm in alpha brainwave state, we can be more creative and we can connect. And what I've been doing is releasing the anxiety out of the humans. And then the animals are the reflection, and show that once the animals are not peeing in the house and they're not barking, it's because you as a human are not stressed out.
That's right. Exactly.
So thank you for that. So now it's just a matter of sharing that message and going through the process.
That's all it is. And the idea is embrace it fully. Like, instead of trying to keep two separate places, what's going to make you go crazy is trying to have two separate businesses that are competing. Collapse them. And so it's like you can do this all together by doing it in this one way. Ease and flow. That's what we're going for.
Ease and flow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate that.
So welcome, Penny. My pleasure. Shauna, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, you're good.
Put that down. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much. So I'm sitting here thinking about how to ask this question. So what I'm present to is like the last couple of years. So pandemic, in my own personal life, medical issues in family, breakdown of relationship, like all this stuff that's just happened. And this overriding context I see in the world of coaching, that coaches love to coach, but coaches don't really love to create, clients in the business, like to do that work. And in the spirit of ease and flow, I'd love to hear a little bit from you on like how do we take that same, like, we love to coach, I'm generalizing for folks, but I've heard this so many times, and bring that into the generating part too, like the business dev part, because if we don't do that, right, we don't get to do this. And how do we collapse that into it's all the stuff that we love to do?
Shauna, I love that question. What inspired me most about this was Rich Litvin's book, The Prosperous Coach. And the reason I'm bringing this in is that he said, if you were to look at my calendar, you wouldn't be able to tell what's a prospect and what's a client. It's exactly the same. Now, I have a color coding system, so I know which ones are prospects and which ones are clients. But basically, I'm coaching all day, every day. And what I'm doing is either coaching prospects into enrolling as clients with me, or I'm coaching my existing clients. And that's all I do. Now, that was such a brilliant answer that he gave in his book, because what it did is it actually showed, like, this doesn't have to be hard. From a place of ease and flow, it's like, if we want to be able to do prospecting as a gift, meaning whenever I get someone on my calendar, I don't care if they say yes. And I mean this sincerely. Like, when you're on my calendar, I'm here to help you get your outcome. And the idea there is, what you get from me is like, oh my God, I'm fully committed to your success and what's up in the world, right? And that's what you feel and that's what you experience. Whether you choose to continue a relationship is totally your decision. It has nothing to do with me. And from that place, there's an ease and flow about it, because all I'm here to do is have you have a powerful experience. What you do with that powerful experience is totally up to you. And if I can change that way of thinking, there's no stress. Because I know it's not only a matter of, I have a statistical probability that at least 10 appointments on my calendar will convert to one client. So I can project out exactly what I need to do in order to have whatever kind of size coaching business I need. And then that becomes, I'm only adding value. Because here's the thing, even if you say no, you're saying no for now. And if you're saying no for now, it means 6 months from now, when things change and you're like, I needed that guy Bill to help me in my relationship, boom, you're there, right? And you come back to me, and it's like a free client, because I basically enrolled you 6 months ago, but I didn't know about it. You know what I mean? It's like that. So this is how the ease and flow comes, because now you're no longer stressed out about like the hard work of building the business. It's now just a continuation of adding value, adding value, adding value, and doing it specifically to a niche that you care most about.
Yeah, I think what I'm noticing, like if I'm applying this in a visual way, is I'm seeing like the energy of coaching someone as a client as being a smaller amount of energy than what it requires for a new client. So if I can shift
Switch
that
it.
picture
Yeah.
perhaps to, have them be more even, and
Absolutely.
also a lot more fun. I mean, because I actually love enrollment conversations. I actually really love them.
Great.
But this in my head, this is, oh, that's hard. You don't really like doing that.
And it's the saboteurs that make it hard. So this is what I want to be clear about. The reason it's not an ease and flow is because it's our judging ourselves, judging the other person, judging the situation, the circumstances. Like, the judge makes it hard, and it creates fiction in the actual conversation. Or any of the accomplice saboteurs, like my controller wanting to do it my way, is going to make it hard, right? My hyperachiever is like, I got to get one more client right now. I have to do it this week. That's hyperachiever, right? Like, all of that. That's what makes it hard. The ease and flow of it is just doing the thing consistently, just doing it consistently. And that should feel easy.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bill. And I appreciate your energy. You're awesome.
I love it. Thank you, Shauna. Appreciate you. All right, Lauren, go for it.
Hi, Bill. Thanks so much. This has been awesome. I'm going to be quick because we've got a couple more people. I'm just at the start of my coaching journey. So I'm leaving the corporate world as a COO and starting coaching.
Congratulations.
It's really exciting. So I just was looking at the niche spreadsheet, or the sheet that you provided, and I'm really stuck. And this is why I've been really stuck, is that I'm a female COO of a structural engineering firm. So it's very male dominated. And my heart wants to focus on helping females in male dominated industries, or any industry, help them thrive and grow within their career if that's what they want to do. Deep down, I know that it's going to be working with CEOs and executives at organizations that's really going to make the change. So I'm at this weird kind of like penny where there's like two things conflicting. Am I working with the CEOs, or am I working with the female leaders to bring them up? Like, how am I going to make the most impact in the world for what I want to do?
So it's interesting. I have a transgender daughter, and I say this because I am an ally in training. And what comes up for me as you're talking about this is what it means to be an ally. Because ultimately, what it comes down to with these male-dominated CEOs, like what that's happening is they're creating a culture that does not allow women to thrive. We know this, right? They can't bring their feminine power in. And when male leaders step back and allow the female leaders to run, like they crush it every time. Like, there's like every single time we watch this happen, it's like, it's so obvious. Why are we not all doing this? But it's just because of the fear and the uncertainty and the doubts that most male leaders have. They feel like if they release that control, somehow, some way, they're going to be marginalized themselves, they're going to be kicked out, and they're not going to have any extra value in the world, right? So we have to work on both the fear that the men have while also empowering the women to be able to get the things that they deserve. So interestingly enough, there's a partnership of allyship, which is like understanding how you can create a program which creates allyship between the male who is in charge and the female that should be running things, right? And understanding those two, and how can we create balance here so that the male still has a role in the new relationship, and the woman is empowered to be able to do the job that she really can do better than he can. And sort of how do we balance this out, right? No, I mean, this, like, I'm putting all the cards on the table so we can see it clearly. And say, like, from that perspective, how do we actually start to build a bridge that goes from the allyship of what would need to have from the person who's in power to be able to give it to support the person who needs to be in power for the company to thrive. And for you to be able to build a model like this, you're actually building the future of what organizations will look like. So it should be exciting and enthralling and rolling, because basically what you're going to get is a lot of support from all these women leaders out there who see what you see. And it's like, why are we all trying to conform to these masculine dominated cultures when it's the wrong thing? Like, most of the work that we're doing, if we were able to be more feminine in the workplace and we were able to actually bring that love and connection into the space, we would actually have better clients who live with us longer, who would pay us more, like all the things. So why are we resisting that? It's crazy. So it's either that or go start women entrepreneur companies and support women leaders to understand what are the few things that they do need to know from their male counterparts that will help them to be even more profitable and more successful. You get to choose, but either way, you're either going to create an allyship with those who are in control, or you're going to support them to be able to take those leaps of faith and say, you don't need them, just do it on your own. And then from that place, you're mentoring them into being able to do it. As a COO, you know what's necessary to build a profitable and sustainable company. A lot of these women leaders don't. In other words, they're still learning what you already know. So don't be afraid to have a blended coaching and mentorship. This early in my career, this was a big mistake I made. I really was so strict on the ICF certification when I was getting my PCC and all that stuff. And I was like, I can't give any opinions. It's like, I just have to stay in my box and ask open-ended how, what, why questions, right? And it was a joke, because the thing is, nobody cared. The only people that cared were the ICF, my certifications. And once you got that, who cares? I'm sorry. I know this is on record, but I'm telling you, you have to be able to serve your clients first, and everything else has to come second. And so part of that powerful serving of client is to be able to set that expectation at the beginning and say, look, I'm here. I'm happy to be exclusively your coach, but I could also be your mentor, or I could be a hybrid in between. Whatever you need is what I'm here for, because what I see in the world is you running things. So let me help you any way you need help from me to make sure that that happens.
I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's so empowering. Okay.
Hey, thanks, Lauren. Good luck. I can't wait for seeing what you create in the world.
Thanks.
All right. I think we have time for like one more question.
We have 2 more on the board and they've been waiting patiently. So
Okay, all right. We'll go a
minutes.
little extra. But Shelly, you're our last question, okay? Shelly, you'll be last.
Actually, I was next, but I actually accidentally hit my button and it went
that's
down.
okay.
So
Shelly, I
Angela's next.
promise you'll get in. You'll be our
Okay.
last question today.
Okay. Hello. Hi.
Yes. Hi.
Bill, you rock. Second thing is I'm in a funny situation where I'm trying to combine the science, metrics, measurements, which was 25 years of my life, with the touchy-feely coachy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to kind of find the union of the two. And yeah, I'm just looking for that bridge. I'm thinking about new measurements on how effective a coaching session is, or a package is, but I'm having a hard time like finding resources, because it's very much qualitative and not quantitative.
You're right. And the interesting thing about that is that when you try to bring it into a quantitative space, one of the biggest challenges is the metric that you would use. The majority of lists, like how would I authentically evaluate a coaching session, based on like the best I can give you quantitatively would be the Net Promoter Score, right? Like, how would you rate today's session, right? So I could get a quantitative metric based on that score. But after that, the question then becomes, what would a client even be willing to answer? These are deeply personally engagements. And from that perspective, it's like these are matters of the heart more than the head. And so ultimately, when you try to bring it back to the head, it's like, I don't even remember. All I remember is this massive breakthrough I had, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. I can't tell you how I got there or why it mattered to me. So when you start to go into that, what's interesting about that part of it is that coaching comes from the more heart-centered PQ channel, not the data channel. And so what you're now trying to see is that if you want to support people, when they talk about the touchy-feely parts of this work, typically they're trying to diminish it. And what you want to do is flip it around. Yeah.
Yes. I
So-
want to tell the scientists that the touchy-feely stuff works.
Yeah. So here's what you want to do. You want to say, do you believe in emotional intelligence? This is usually a good starting point. So when you talk to scientists, you can see all the data and all the reports about companies that are emotionally intelligent surpass and thrive over other companies that are not as emotionally intelligent. Great. Fantastic. So what you can start to do is show, here's the third-party data that exists out there in the world talking about how the touchy-feely stuff actually makes a bigger difference. Now you have a foundation and a baseline that says, if you understand emotional intelligence, now you'll understand why people love coaching, because the coaching part of this actually helps you become more emotionally intelligent. And then you can give some very specific examples. As a scientist, if you were to go home with your relationship with your spouse and you were to solve the problem scientifically, it's not going to go very well for you. And that's what we're talking about. How many places at work, when we're in a situation, when it's a relationship challenge and you're trying to solve it with a data answer and an analytic, it's not going to work out.
It's always about relationships.
Right.
It is always about relationships.
So part of this whole idea is help them understand a scientific experiment, right? So put it into a place where you say, imagine yourself at home and your spouse is asking you about this, and they're coming from a heart space and you're answering in a data channel space. Like, have them see this. That's the difference. And so what we try to do is analyze all of this. If you want to know what the true analytics are, is how do people thrive in their roles? So there's three things that we measure at Positive Intelligence. One is performance, the other thing is relationships, and the other thing is well-being. And so part of our metrics in this work is to understand how performance is improved over time. So if I say we're working together and we've put together an operating system of mental fitness training, then we say, in 6 weeks, how are you feeling and how's your performance? In 6 months, how are you feeling and how's your performance? And you start to see what that starts to ratchet up. And the differential is for the control group who haven't had mental fitness training and they don't have coaching, you're seeing what you would expect to see. And what you're seeing is the rise based on the people who are actually receiving the support they need. And now they feel connected, they feel in relationship, and they actually feel supported by their growth. So there are ways to do it. It just takes a little more work.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Welcome. Great. Excellent. All right, Shelly, last question. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for squeezing me in.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll trying to be real quick. I started off in the coaching profession about 12 years ago, wanted to work in the subject area of supporting people to recover from food addiction. And I ended up going down this whole other pathway, this sort of niche found me. And now I'm trying to want to leave that niche and go back to what I really wanted to do, my passion. And so I find time really challenging because this business is already going and it pays the bills, and then I'm trying to make this other one happen. And then the weird thing is that food addiction is something that is still very people don't there's a lot of research and evidence out there, but it's not very well known in the public. So presenting that as the niche, I help professional women who are trying to seek recovery from food addiction. That's not really what their problem is. They're trying to lose weight and don't know why they can't. But I actually know the reasons why and want to help with that. So I find it really hard to know, and then kind of to the whole ally stuff that you were talking about earlier is my model is that I want to work with the physicians and the doctors out there who don't really have the time to be with their patients and to do the work between visits. And so want a community that I'm building to be the solution for that. And so I'm just finding it challenging to how do I break into this market that still doesn't know food addiction? Women don't know that they have that or that that's what's going on. They just want to lose weight. So I lead with solving the problem of losing the weight, or do I leave with
You do.
educating on food
You do.
addiction? Yeah.
The
It's
thing
like,
is that the women you're trying to target are not actively seeking out the reason why as much as the how do I fix it. And so what
Yeah.
they're seeking is the easy button. They want to know, what is the thing that I need to do to shift or change? And I know that I've tried all these other things and none of them work. So why will your program work when nothing else works, right? So this is the paradox they're in. On the one hand, they want to be able to know that whatever they sign up for next will work. On the other hand, they're not really getting to the core of what the problem is. And so they're going after the symptoms, not the root causes. And so what's interesting is, from an enrollment perspective, you actually have to play the game of playing with the symptoms, at least initially, before they get into an enrollment call with you, where you can get to the root cause. Because ultimately the symptom is what they're actively seeking out for. And if you go to a root cause and they're seeking for a symptom, you got to crisscross. And so they're not looking for what you're selling, and ultimately you guys are going to miss each other. So you
and
really,
that's what I think's happening. Yeah. Cause
yeah,
it's like they're like, I don't know I have that.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And they won't. So it's like, I'll give you an example. So on a personal level, I am a recovered alcoholic. And the reason I share that with you is because for many years, I was a binge drinking alcoholic and didn't know it. Why? Because I hadn't had a low bottom. It's like, I still had a family. I still had great success. Like, everything about me was like showing me that you're not an alcoholic. You're so successful. How could you be an alcoholic? Right. But deep down, I knew what the truth was, because I was hiding my alcohol and I go like all these things. So the whole idea of addiction is, when you're an addict, you don't necessarily, like, you haven't confronted it yet. It's something that's still in your space. You might have a general awareness about it, but you haven't done the actual deep work of really understanding what it means to admit you're powerless over something like food or alcohol. And so until you're able to admit that and sort of go through the program and go through the steps or do all the things you're doing, it's going to be something that just continues to loom over you. So instead, you have to start with, where are they? Meeting them where they're at. What is the thing that they're willing to acknowledge? And from that space, then you can build in an awareness. You can help them understand the bigger picture. You can understand that this is a symptom and not a root cause. And as you start to work on the root causes, it'll open up possibilities. But you have to meet where they're at. If you don't, you're going to crisscross each other.
That is totally what's been happening. And then my fear of that was that the medical professionals that we want to partner with and work with, that, that they're going to show up and look at the website and it says all about losing weight, but yet they know it's deeper. So maybe I need two separate websites, one for them and one for the.
And that's it. I mean, that's exactly it. So what you're trying to do is figure out who is your audience. If your audience is the medical professionals, then you're going to have a very different message. And then because they're your referring source, they're not your end client, but they are a great referral source. So it's like, what is the content you're giving to them to help them help you? And so thinking about it's like, it's not enough just to take, Ozempic or Zepbound or any of those things. Like, it's great that they're doing this, but unless you change the mental game, if you don't change the actual structure, like, this is not just a temporary fix. It's not going to actually be the long-term solution. So ultimately, here's why coaching can support in this context. That's what they need to see and understand, so that they can say, have you considered coaching? Oh, no, I've never have. Well, here's a resource for you, right? While in the meantime, you have a separate content strategy that is specifically for the symptom that women are searching for, where they might be willing to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. Validated. Thank you.
Wow. Excellent.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Thank you all for sticking around. We have 80 holdouts here at 95 minutes past. So that's a good sign, I think. Lots of fire delivered in all of this, lots of love in the chat. And just thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here and for sharing your wisdom with all of us. And cheers to everyone and putting the core 4 into action in your coaching businesses. And have a wonderful day.
I love it. Let's say goodbye to everyone. Go to gallery mode and say, take care. Love you all. Appreciate
it.
Good night.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Next time. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.